me, go ahead and let me know in the chat if I sound all right. If you can hear my voice, I'm going to try to log into my computer, but I don't think I need to. It's pretty easy to see the chat on the phone here, so should be pretty good. But hello, hello. Hopefully everyone is doing well. Happy Thursday to you all today. I know it is a random live today. We haven't done one of these in a while, but I like these. This is a nice break for me from having to create a video every single week. It was so nice to not have to edit. It was like genuinely a nice little break. Again, if you can hear me, let me know in the chat, just if anyone can be like, sounds good, or a thumbs up or anything, just so I can like know for sure we're good. I have my mic on today, so hopefully the sound is pretty solid. But we are going to just kind of have a chat, a live Q&A. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate you. A live Q&A. So if you are just somebody who's new to Whatnot, new to reselling, kind of just has some questions, maybe you've been in the game for a while, but you're just trying to like tie up some loose ends, drop any and all questions in the chat. I will answer them here live, and I'm just going to kind of chat with you guys. I'm going to give you all a little update on what's going on, where I'm at progress-wise with our little project next door. I decided that I would rather have a full week of editing on that video than rush dropping it out to y'all today. So I'm going to probably start on that this afternoon, actually. I have a little bit more to film. I just was over there for about 45 minutes, kind of working on the very back room so that the organization side of it there is fully set up. But it is not an easy task by any means. I am definitely like multiple times as I'm just standing there, I'm just like, what do I do? What's next? And it's that stress of being in the disorganization. So, and you know, it's got to get unorganized before it gets organized. So that's been what's going on over there. As far as Whatnot goes, though, it was nice to have my first stream over there. I'm not going to spoil it too much. I'll wait for you guys to see the video next week, but it was nice to have my first official stream over there. I didn't have to clean up. Everything was able to just kind of stay on the shelves. Normally I'd have it over here, and I have to kind of mess up all of my books and all of my organization over here to have those shows. So that was a nice change of pace, and it's just very functional over there. I'm very excited. I have plenty of space for storage too. Down here underneath this table, I have all these stacks of books for my shows, and I think I'll probably end up putting some of those over on the shelves next door, so that'll be really nice. So I'm very, very excited with how that space is actually coming together. I know I said that like I started recording the last little bit of this video I'm going to be publishing. So I was like showing everyone what it looked like. And I just said, it's one of those moments where you just have to do it. Like the more you sit here and try to think about what you're doing, it's just going to stress you out and you're going to want to shut the door and walk away. I just started like grabbing stuff and putting it in places. And I made a whole nother donation pile, which is wild. Like I thought I had already gone through and gotten all the donated stuff, but I had a whole nother pile to donate. So that's great. I'm really excited that I've been able to make some like executive decisions and say, nope, this isn't worth my time. Not that it doesn't have value, but it's just not valuable for me. So letting it go is sometimes the best thing for sure. So yeah, that's kind of just been what I've been focused on here in the last week or so. And just doing that. I will say I have some Whatnot topics for you guys. One of the things I wanted to talk about was like the growth I'm seeing on Whatnot. So if you're a new seller or you've never really sold, but you're thinking about getting into selling on the platform, Whatnot, I think this is a really good time for you guys to start jumping in, because I am getting a handful of new buyers every show and lots of new faces, new people making requests or asking questions, just new people popping in that I've never seen before. And the views on my shows are higher. So like there's just generally more people coming in and out of the streams, which is great. I've also noticed in the book category in particular, there's a lot more sellers. I've noticed like a handful of just brand new people I've never seen before. And instead of having a couple of shows on at a time, we're having sometimes upwards of 10 shows or more on at a time, which is wonderful. So if you sell books in particular, it's, I think, a great time to jump in and start building your audience. And, you know, obviously be somewhat prepared, but you can work out the kinks a little along the way and find your people as you're going live. So just wanted to mention that with you guys, because I'm really excited about that. I've noticed that like every show is just, a handful of new buyers, and I'm having a handful of new buyers who are coming in and spending some good money too, not just coming in and buying a book or two, but buying bundles of books. So it's been good. So just wanted to like remind you guys of that at all times the platform's growing, and I don't know what they're doing right now, but they're pushing something that's allowing people to like find us. I just think about all the time how many people have never heard of Whatnot, and it's crazy to me. So, hey Swamp, welcome in, Swamp Picker. So again, if you guys have any questions, drop them at any time. I'm just going to talk to you all for a little bit. This isn't like a formal video. I don't ever structure out these live videos. I barely structure out my regular videos. So I'm just going to be, chitting and chatting. So feel free to drop any questions at any time. I think the new sellers, I think, is just somehow people are getting word of it. I actually had a buyer say that in their local Facebook group that's based in like Ohio or something, there was oh goodness, sorry guys, I hit the charger trying to throw you guys all around. I'm so sorry. They were saying that they had somebody in their local Facebook group talking about Whatnot, and everyone was like, oh, what is that? Never heard of that. So, hey, you came in just in time for the abuse. I'm sorry. I'm just kicked you guys all around trying to cross my legs. So that's really cool to have people like, hey, there's this really cool platform where you can buy stuff and you can buy like really whatever you want. And if you are interested, you could sell too. And to have people know about that, love it. That's how you're going to see growth on the platform. Whatnot doesn't do a lot of that on their own. They target their advertising to collectors, card sellers, things like that. So I think it's exciting to see some new faces, maybe just from organic people, word of mouth. Word of mouth is a huge way to share information. But then, yeah, I think using the rewards program for myself, I'm seeing coupon spend every show. Sometimes it's $5 or $10. Sometimes it's $100. So that's really good. So utilizing that rewards program, which I've talked about a lot in the past few videos. So yeah, it's just been good. It's been good natural growth, I feel like, on the platform. So, hey, Deborah, #1 fan in the house. TikTok live. Ooh, yeah. So that's so funny because I had thought about that. I was like, should I make a TikTok and be like, hey, just for all of you live sellers on TikTok, there's this whole other live selling platform that you could sell on. But I didn't. But I just thought about that around that time thinking, wow, man, imagine how many TikTok sellers could come over to Whatnot and start bringing their audience to Whatnot. So yeah, that's exciting. I know. I'm so sorry. And just always knocking you around, beating you up. Yeah. It's normal though. If you come to one of my Whatnot shows, I'll hit the camera 12 times. It's very, very normal. So yeah, it's been exciting. I've been enjoying it. I've been noticing a huge increase. Honestly, like I've noticed an increase in my income, in my sales. Like I'm on Tuesdays having, instead of an hour and a half show, I'm having 2 to 2.5 hour shows, which is long for me on a Tuesday. And then we did that show from the Goodwill bins, and normally that show would take like maybe an hour or two. I think we were on 4 or 5 hours at the like selling everything because there was just so much demand for what I had, and I was like, this is great, I love this. But these are all new people that are new to the app. So keep that in mind if you are thinking about like jumping on. There's a lot of new faces on there, and you can get on and just start building that audience for sure. So Louis said the most confusing part is the shipping. Luckily, I did one show and everything got to the customer. Okay, good. I love to hear that. So I do. Hey, Gash, welcome in. I tried to explain the shipping the best I could in one of the walkthrough videos I did. It was like over an hour long video of kind of walkthroughing everything. And I hear so often how many people get so caught up on the shipping. And I totally understand because there's a lot of options. What service are you using? How does Whatnot calculate the shipping? You can even pay for the shipping out of your pocket and say, I'm gonna charge an increased price for my product, but the shipping is always free. You can do that too. So there's lots of different options, but I think that if you're newer to reselling, I could see it being very challenging because you don't have kind of that base knowledge of shipping. Like say you're listing an item on eBay, right? And you're going to like put in the shipping details. You can just be like, okay, this is 1.1 pounds, you know, like you can hold something and kind of know what it is and just pop in there, you know, the dimensions are roughly going to be blah, 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 blah. And you just pop it all in because it's so second nature to you. Whereas if you've never sold anything before and really shipped anything, you're like measuring, okay, it's 4 by 14 by 2 and it weighs, you know, and you're like putting every ounce of effort into the shipping. And I think that if you've done it long enough, you will be able to transition into whatnot shipping just fine. So if you're newer to reselling and you're not familiar with shipping, like you don't have that kind of set base information of how much does stuff roughly cost and all that stuff, then it might seem confusing. But I would say that overall, it is definitely like, as long as you are running the items for the weight that the item is, maybe a little bit of extra for like the shipping supplies, you're going to be okay. Whatnot does a really good job at calculating shipping. Every now and again, they'll have like a weird glitch where it's just like, that wasn't accurate. Like that probably, the buyer maybe paid a little bit more, but we're talking about like a couple dollars. Like it's nothing crazy. Like I've never had a buyer who's just like, oh, I'm getting charged so much. Actually, I take that back. I did have one time I was selling some kind of large items and I don't know what was happening, but Whatnot was giving them like a $30 shipping rate for like a toy car. And I was like, don't buy that. It's okay. We'll figure out another way to do it. So I had to list it as something random just so that they got the appropriate shipping. But I've never really had that issue other than that for sure. Shipping. Yeah. See, it's so interesting. The shipping is so intimidating. So I wonder if there's a way I can make a video breaking down a little bit more kind of what you need to know. Like one thing I noticed in that walkthrough video, which is why it was an hour long, is I got a lot of commentary back on thank you. Like, thank you for just slowing it down and breaking down every single step. One of the comments was my favorite. She was like, oh, I've been trying to find the answers to all these questions, but I guess I just needed Whatnot for Dummies. Thank you so much. And I'm like, that was kind of what I was trying to do, was like make it so understandable. So if you haven't watched that video, I think it's titled like, oh, I don't even know what it's titled. It's a couple videos back. The thumbnail is Seller Hub Walkthrough, and it's a picture of me like this on the thumbnail, and it says walkthrough at the top. But that's like a great walkthrough video, and I do a good chunk on shipping in there. So I definitely recommend checking that out. But maybe I'd have to think about how I would do it. Like I'd have to do it with tangible examples. Like maybe I do a private show and show you how I would on the spot list the items versus listing them ahead of time. I don't know. I get a lot of questions about that. And I know that I can imagine is a lot. Louis says, the new thing I'm trying to figure out is how to just run random items in large quantities without uploading a picture for each. So that's a new confusion for me. Okay, I can answer this. I just need to read it one more time. All right. Trying to figure out how to run random items in large quantities. Random items in large quantities. So like you have a box full of random stuff and you want to just kind of like show them on screen and then run each one like as an auction and without having a picture is kind of what I'm thinking you're saying. Because this is exactly what I do in my book show. So if you're like, you have a bunch of stuff, if you have large quantities of them, like you mean you have multiple quantities of the same item or one of lots of different items? Yeah, it is a good video. Louis says that's the best video with 1,000 fire emojis. It's so true. It's a great video. I can't remember what it's titled, but it's good. Okay, perfect. So different items. So this is what I do on my show. And I think I explained it a little in that video, but this is another one I get so many requests on. It's so funny to me. Okay, so let's use an example, right? So let's say these are our items. Okay, so these are our 3 items here, these 3 books. These all have different weights to them. They're all generally the same weight, but not really. So like if I'm pulling these items out of a box or something, I'm like, hey guys, this is the next item I want to sell, and I'm showing you this book. The way that I would run it is by just having a set listing in my auction tab for the weight of different items. So this book is over a pound. So I would just have an item listed as like item 1 pound or something like that, or 1 to 2 pounds. And then you could have like 2 to 3 pounds, 3 to 4 pounds. And then for these, I would have ounceage. So I would have like maybe like 4 to 7 ounces on this one. And then I'd have like 8 to 11 ounces on this one. So anything over a pound, I just go by pounds. So 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Anything under a pound, I break it up, because say you're selling trinkety items too, like I don't have anything little next to me, but like this little magic eraser that I was just using is just really light. So I wouldn't want to charge someone 12 ounces because this is only 0 to 1 ounces. This is like nothing. So I would have it set up all those different ways. Then once I get to a pound, I would go in pound increments. And then once I'm running this auction, I'd say, okay, guys, this is the next book. You know, this is it. And I would go to my auction tab and I would find the listing that I have for item 1 to 2 pounds. And when it runs, it'll say at the bottom, item 1 to 2 pounds, number 1. If someone wins it, then I can just go, I can take a Post-it note and write on the Post-it note, 1 to 2 pounds, item 1, and put that to the side. Then when I go to run another 1 to 2 pound item, like this is kind of heavy. So say this is 1 to 2 pounds, I would run this one and it would say 1 to 2 pounds or item 1 to 2 pounds, whatever, number 2. So then I would label this one number 2 and put it to the side. And then if I wanted to run this one, I would put in 8 to 11 ounces and I would run it. And so all you're doing is creating a single listing with no photo. You can do a blank, like I just like to put my phone flat, the camera flat, and it makes the screen go black. And that's the image I use. So you said you don't want to have to use images. That's what I would just do, is make the image just black. Or you could find a fun image that says like 4 to 7 ounces, 1 to 2 pounds, or I don't know, whatever you want it to be. It doesn't have to be anything. It can be a black screen. And then you just put in the quantity of like 200. You just put in a high quantity. I put in like 200 or 300 for my quantities, and then they just dwindle down. And one day I'll notice that there's only like 50 left, and I'll go in and I'll edit it and I'll put it back up to 200. And that listing just stays every single time I do a show. I clone all those items over. So instead of having to take a picture of every single individual item and list it, you just do these like quantity listings by weight. And I hope that makes sense. I've explained this a handful of times, but I always feel like it like doesn't resonate until you see it. So definitely double check on that video, because I talk about it a little bit in there, but that's to me the best way to sell. I don't find value in listing every individual item unless they're high value items, or you're somebody who doesn't mind listing. I hate listing. Don't want to do it. So I'm showing you everything on screen. And if you like it, then I'll just run it as an auction. So Lisa says, you random pulls and break it up into 4 to 7, 8 to 11, 12 to 15. It works great. And I sell children's clothing 100%. She said, I had my first show on Monday with 13 orders and 5 buyers. I love that. Did a great job bundling. Very easy. Yeah, listing is very time consuming, says Louie, for sure. I'm the same way. It's too much for me. I don't want to have to do it. But Lisa, that's awesome. Congratulations. Awesome job on your first show. And I'm telling you, I think this is one of the hacks. I feel like I've said this. I know I keep saying that I feel like I've said this, because I'm getting to a point where I've only been on YouTube for like 6 months or 7 months, almost about a year, it feels like. I think we started in like May or June, but I've said a lot of the same stuff over again, because a lot of it is true no matter what. It's never going to change. It will always be this way, which is that this concept of there are certain things that I feel like are non-negotiable on the platform. And one of them kind of goes back to shipping, what we were talking about earlier, is this idea that like some people do not accurately put their shipping in. There's one seller I kind of like buying from, but they don't put their shipping in correctly. And so I end up paying more in shipping than I know I'm supposed to. And I don't like that. So I think one of the big tips I have is like utilizing those different shipping profiles that are automatically given to you by Whatnot, and then going in and adding new ones depending on what you sell. If you sell heavy items or very specifically weighted items, you might want to put in some custom profiles, but they give you a good baseline. And the baseline is 0 to 1 ounces, 1 to 3 ounces, 4 to 7 ounces, 8 to 11 ounces, 12 to 15 ounces, and then they start going up in 1 pound increments. And I think that's so important for you to remember that, because obviously there's people that sell like sports cars and Disney pins and really small light things, but you also might sell really small light things. So instead of charging somebody a pound for an item, that you can charge them 4 ounces on, they're going to end up getting better deal on shipping over time. And so there's one buyer in particular, I'm like, stop. I just want to message them so bad and be like, hey, can you change your, like, can you switch this up? Because I would buy more from you if you had your profiles better. So think about that. Think about how you're charging people for the shipping, like what your weight of your item is. If it weighs 8 ounces, don't just make it a 1 pound item, because it's going to add up in the wrong way for the buyers. So Timmy says, or Deborah, what parameters do you use when deciding to sell a book on Whatnot or eBay? So I'm definitely using eBay's sell-through, right? I'm looking at eBay to see what is it selling for on eBay. And then a handful of it, of course, is just general knowledge. Like, I know that there are certain things that are going to sell on eBay that aren't going to sell on Whatnot. And for example, an easy one, I do these all the time, are the Haynes car repair manuals. They're these little rectangular vintage books. They're published by Haynes, and they are car repair manuals, but people use them who fix cars and stuff. And they don't sell for a lot. Some of them sell for $4 or $5. Some of them sell for $25. It just kind of depends. They all go in the middle. They would never sell on Whatnot. I could put those every day on a Whatnot show. No one's buying that. Because what are the odds that the person who needs to fix, a 1990 Toyota Corolla is in my show? Probably not a strong chance. So all those are going to go on eBay always, right? I don't need to look at the comps on those. Those are going to go on eBay. And then what I'll typically do is if I come across something unique enough that I'm like, I've never seen this before. This looks expensive. This seems valuable. I'll just go ahead and scan it on eBay, or whatever you're selling, look it up on eBay, search it, keyword it, whatever you need to do. And then I like to just see how many are listed and how many are sold. If the sell-through is like pretty high and it's worth it for me to list it on eBay, like if I'm seeing, I can get a little bit more money there, I'll list it there. I'll take the time to do the listing. But it has to be, I would say, as far as parameters go, it has to be at least, I would say, like a $10 or up value for me on a book, because other than that, it's just more worth it for me to show it on Whatnot and hope I get at least what I'm asking for, if not more, than putting it to the side, letting it sit in a death pile for 2 months, and then I list it on eBay, and then it sells, and then I have to ship it all on its own versus like in a bundle. So parameters, I would just say the sell-through rate on eBay. Just looking on eBay and seeing if it's more worth it to list it there, and you're going to get a little more value. And then another thing I do, I'll mention this too, is sometimes I'll come across books that I'm thinking are like valuable to sell elsewhere, like Sell Back Your Book is a big one that I sell to. If I scan that book and it's telling me, say Sell Back Your Book's going to give me $10, right? And I go, that's a lot of money for Sell Back Your Book. How much is it worth on eBay? And I'll go to eBay and it'll be like $25. So then I decide this is more worth it for me to list it on eBay. I'm going to make more money doing that. So I'll put it in the eBay pile. So that kind of thing too. It's just like, where's the most demand for it? It's probably going to sell better on one or the other. And I just pick from there. So, Lisa said, I had a second show. All right. Oh, look at you. I like that. Already doing a second show. No orders, but it was a way better show. And I was not stressed. My tribe will find me. That is so true. It's so true. Tribe pride. It's so true. You will find your people. They will come to you. Put on a consistent show. Be yourself. Provide good inventory, talk to the chat, and be engaging in whatever way you can, and provide good deals, and people will find you. Like if you have a good product to offer and you run your show in a good enough way, people will come to you over and over again, and more people will come to you. Just give it a little bit of time. Like it takes a while to have a consistent amount of people in your show. So in the first few shows, if you only have a couple of people in your show, just make those strong connections with them. Like just talk to them, get to know them, find out what they like. Like especially if they're buying something from you, like what else do you like? Okay, I sell kids clothes, right? So what kind of kids clothes do you look for? What sizes are you needing? I've seen that in kids shows before. I don't sell kids clothes. I'm saying as a seller, say you did that. Oh, you have a kid who's in 4 or 5T. Cool. I'm going to put that in my mental bank. And when I'm outsourcing, I'm going to be looking for 4 or 5T for that specific buyer. Maybe even some, whatever the next level is after that. I don't have young kids anymore, so I can't remember what happens after they're not toddlers, but whatever size, like for little kids' clothes or whatever. But so you just kind of make those connections with people. So for me in my book show, I do that with like, just talking, someone's like, oh, I'm having a baby. Okay. Mental note. Maybe let's pick up some baby books, right? Or no one's buying a certain type of book. I stop picking that book up for a little while until their kids get into that age range. So yeah, and just creating your style, your flow is going to be perfect. So Sel says, pictures of just your shelves and piles make browsing easier too when there's a lot of inventory. I don't like scrolling through 500 plus lists. Okay, this is a great point that Sel just makes. I don't like scrolling through 500 to 1,000 plus listings. I agree, 100% agree. I have in my auction tab my shelves pictured, no books, like no individual items. It's all my shelves. And in my buy it now, I have like, I think about 100 items. And I feel like that's a lot. I will probably have upwards in the most in my buy it now, like 150 to 200. And that's like a lot of listings to me. I don't know how people have like 1,000 listings because I'm not scrolling through that. Like personally, I'm just not interested. And I know there are plenty of people who are, but I feel the exact same way. I'll just leave. I'm like, I don't like that shopping style. So if you can find a way to bulk picture your items instead of a bunch of individual listings in a way, that can also be helpful. And it's really time consuming. So maybe a good way for you to save a little time when you're first getting started. Louis said, food scale is a must to have because weight is very important. That's why it took so long to do a show. Yes. The weight is important, and having some form of a scale that gives you from the ounces to the pounds is very, very important for sure. Tamiri says, do you always have to upload items and whatnot market before a live show? I'm new to this, by the way. I have watched your videos and learned so much. You're awesome. Thank you so much. You are awesome. Thanks for hanging. So there are a couple different ways you can do the listings like in a show in the marketplace. If you don't want to sell live, you don't want to ever be on camera, you can solely just list your items to the marketplace and you never need to go live. They'll be available to be searched. So if someone's looking for a book that you have, you're going to pop up in the search results and they can purchase from you. And then if they like your pricing and the books you have, maybe they shop your store and they buy a bunch of stuff from you. And that'll be really perfect buyer for sure. So you can sell that way. And then if you're like, well, I want to do marketplace and I want to sell live, what you can do is, I'll kind of try to make this make the most sense. When you're in your listing page, you'll need to be in a show. So like, say you have a show scheduled, you go to your show, you click on your little store and there's that little circle with the plus mark and it says, hey, you have no inventory, add some now. And you click that little plus mark and it opens up a listing. That'll list inside of your show. But as you're going through that listing page, you'll see like put your picture, your title, your description, all your so like any special details or whatever, what are they called? Specifics, item specific type things. And then kind of right down there in the middle towards the bottom, you'll see something that says reserve for live. And if that's toggled on, which it automatically toggles on, it won't be open in your marketplace. It'll only be in your show. So no one can actually see that in your marketplace. So if you toggle that off on every time you make a listing, if you just toggle that off, it'll list it in your show and it'll also list it in your marketplace. So say after your show, no one buys those items will all still be available for people to view outside of your auction. So you could make a sale in the show or in your marketplace. So that's how you list in both. If you want to just list in marketplace, you can just list in the marketplace. You don't need to schedule shows and do that. If you want to list in your show and the marketplace, schedule a show, start listing in your show, but toggle that off so it says not reserved for live. It'll say reserved for live only or something like that. Thank you. Louis says, thank you for this, love. Take care. I will be on the lookout for more of your content. Thank you so much, Louis. Appreciate you. And yeah, and if you have to go, you can always watch this on playback. It won't be listed under my main videos. It'll be listed under my live. So if you click on my profile and go to live, you can access this video if you guys can't hang for the whole time. Timmy says, great credibility builds great karma. The two most valuable qualities in reselling anything. You do it great. Thank you so much. Yeah, I have learned that having a lot of good reviews is great, but like in your show too, just being consistent, being responsive, being flexible is just so good. People want to see somebody who's like a real person. I see a lot of shows, and I'm sure you guys have seen these too, where there's like 700 people in the show, and the seller can't realistically have like a real genuine connection with the audience. They're kind of just selling to the masses at that point, which is great. I mean, I would love to have 700 people in my show, but when you're starting, and even me, I mean, I have 30 to 40 people in most of my shows, and I have however many followers I have. I don't even know, but it's a lot. And I only have 30 to 40 people in my show every show. So like, think about that. I don't know how many I have right now, but I want to say it's like 7,000 or something like that. I don't even know, but it's a lot. And I've been doing it for a couple years, but that's how many I have. So think about that. If you're just getting started and you have 5 or 10 people in your show, that's a lot of people. So just make your connections with those people, build that credibility, provide them a good product, ship it out in good condition so it arrives to them, and be good on customer service. If somebody reaches out to you and is just like, hey, this was damaged, or this isn't what I thought, or this has a smell or a stain, or just work with them. Be flexible. For sure. Scott says, I like the shelf idea for sure. I may start doing this soon. Thanks for the info. Absolutely. Yeah, Tamara, hopefully that makes sense for you the way I described that just toggling that off. So yeah, the shelf pictures are so helpful, especially in the book community. A lot of us do this because it makes so much sense. So for most of us, we are selling books all the time and we have these shelves. Some people don't. Some people are just like selling small piles of books, and so they don't really have a lot left over. But for me, I have hundreds of books, at any given time that aren't being shown in the show, but I want people to know that they exist. So yeah, take pictures of those shelves. It is like so helpful. I actually was telling somebody this on a coaching call. They're selling like glassware and stuff. And so I was like, take pictures of the glass on the shelves. Like, they're doing random pulls, which is great. Love random pulls. That's how I do my show. But they're like, how do I show people what I have like coming up? And I was like, just like I do, where you take a shelf, know what shelf it is, and maybe you in your brain, you go, this is shelf 1. And in your listing, you put shelf 1, and you can put up to like eight pictures, I believe, of all the items on that shelf, and then go to the next one and be like, okay, this is shelf 2, and do the same thing so that at least they can start previewing it. I think that's a really good way to get people at least aware of the other items you have. I got granddaughter carpooled. Okay. Well, have a good carpool. Hopefully the line's not too crazy. I will see you later. Yeah, it was a horribly rainy day today. We woke up to thunder and lightning and pure darkness. It felt like we were in a dystopia. Like the clouds were covered in gray and rain, and it was just creepy, scary this morning. But it's cleared up a little bit now. So I always forget sometimes when I'm talking to you guys, y'all don't live where I live. So I was about to be like, be careful out there. But it probably isn't soaking wet. It was worse than the snow. Like the rain this morning, it was terrible. I could barely drive. And that was such a bummer. So I was going to go to Virginia Beach today, and it was raining so bad I stayed. But I'm okay with it because I got a lot of the stuff done next door. So it's fine. But I can't go tomorrow because I'm sourcing all day live from the Goodwill bins tomorrow. So if you're interested at all in how that looks, you guys should definitely come check out my Whatnot tomorrow. I'll be on 9:45 a.m. Eastern time. And we'll be on for a few hours, like probably a good 5 or 6 hours, going through all the bins, personal shopping, and then I buy the books, and then we come back to the office, and I have a second show scheduled later in the evening around 6 Eastern time, and then we sell everything that we bought. So that's a lot of fun. So I'm doing that tomorrow, and then I definitely don't go across the bridge on Saturdays because I have too much to do. It's not enough time. So kind of a bummer. Didn't really get to do a big source this week, but it's fine. I will say something I'll talk to you guys about for those of you guys that do books. A little insider tip. I don't know if a lot of people know about this, and I don't really talk about a lot of the stuff on the channel. I tend to leave a lot of good nuggets in a live because I'm just talking. So I'll be like, nuggets. But I went to Second and Charles today. So one of the things I do in my business is when I have excess books that don't sell, like they've just been sitting on my shelf for a while. Sorry, there's a jet going over. It's loud. I don't know if you guys can hear it. The mic may not pick it up. It's so loud. We have really bad jet noise around here sometimes. It's so loud. You guys probably can't hear it. All right, I'll just keep talking because you guys probably can't hear it. So I will take those books and take them to Second and Charles. And it's not a lot, but over time it adds up. And I had like $50 in credit today, so I went shopping, got a few things, got some good like modern popular style books that I like to use and sell on my shows as kind of like, I like to call them bait a little bit. So it's like good books that draw people in and they want to stick around for those books in particular, and then they might buy a couple other books as well. So keep that in mind. Second and Charles is a great one. Most people have Second and Charles, but we also have something called the Book Exchange. I don't know if you guys have that, but if you sell books, Book Exchange is really good. So yeah, if you're ever trying to like move inventory that's just not selling, that's a great thing. And Second and Charles also takes like good quality, popular stuffed animals, vinyl records, CDs, some toys, playing cards, games, all kinds of stuff. So you can sell a lot at Second and Charles. So depending on what you sell. But I did that and got a few goodies today. And then I stopped at another thrift store and got a handful of items there as well. So that was good. So not a big sourcing day, but I did get some stuff. So I'm happy with it overall. But I have so much down here right now. I just have so much to go through, which is such a great problem to have. I went through a drought for a little while, but it's good. And then I have a clearance shelf I need to go through. The clearance is so like, for me, because it's a lot of work for not a whole lot of money. But it's kind of recouping a little of your money back, which I like. So the way I typically do my clearance shows is like $1 and $2 books. I used to do like 2 for $1 books, and I had to stop doing that because it just wasn't worth my time. I would like have these massive stacks of books, and at the end of it, I'd be like leaving with like $100 in profit. And I'm just like, that was so much work for not that much money. So I stopped doing that. So now it's like $1 and $2 book kind of things. Like maybe some kids' books are 2 for $1, but that's like a very specific type of book that's kind of easy. So yeah, I'll have that coming up. But let's see, what else do we have going on? Remember, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. I'm just kind of chatting. That's what these lives are going to be. They're me just kind of answering questions and chitting and chatting. My favorite thing to do, chitting and chatting. But let's see, what else do I have going on? I feel like there was something else I wanted to talk to you guys about with Whatnot. I had like 3 things I had thought of. I didn't write them down. I was like, I'll remember. Cancellations. So I've been having, myself and a few friends have been having some issues with some cancellations. And I think part of that might be the new buyers. I'm not 100% sure, but just a reminder with cancellations, like as long as you are, showcasing the items properly before people are buying them, and setting yourself up for success with that, with like the quality of what you're selling, you should be good. But reminder that buyers can request to cancel an order, but you get the ultimate say of whether they can cancel it or not. There's no reason that they can give that automatically gives them a cancellation. It's not like eBay where basically the customer's always right type of thing. But I've been noticing some different types of cancellations, some interesting stories on some of our Discord conversations and stuff too. So it's just been very interesting to hear people talking about some of the reasons that people have been giving cancellations. And with that also comes a little bit of flakiness sometimes on some buyers I've been noticing, like people claiming stuff and then like not purchasing it. Like someone will be like, oh, I want that. And I'm like, cool, I'll put it to the side. And then they just disappear. I'm like, okay, who does that? Like, that's like going to, I always use this analogy. It's like going to the grocery store, grabbing a grocery cart, putting a couple things in it, and then just leaving your cart in a random aisle and walking out the door. It's like, why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense to me. So just keep in mind, like, you have a lot of control when it comes to being a seller, but there are some things that buyers are going to do, especially when we have new people coming in. And mind you, nothing against Facebook in this capacity, but like, this is a very big, well-known like trope, is that a lot of times Facebook people can be a little bit more aloof. like they don't catch on as quickly. They don't really understand what's going on. So just be patient with them and kind of help guide them through the process. Try to educate them and give them like a good experience so that they can kind of have that expectation when they go into other shows, like how it works. But yeah, you get a lot of control, but just keep in mind with new people comes new problems. So I have in the past, I've had 2 people that have come to me from Facebook back when I used to advertise on Facebook a little bit. And they were some of my biggest nightmare customers I ever had. So Facebook people can be like a little scary sometimes, but spreading the word is good regardless. Even if it brings some crazies, I'm okay with it. You can set your foot down is what I'm trying to say. You can set a standard, and you can even say, hey, I don't accept the cancellations for any reasons at all. So I don't care what your reason is, just don't ask. You can say that. Now that might discourage some people, but you can say that. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, so good and bad things for sure. I'm not going to get into it, but I just had some funny stories where I'm just like, is that a real thing? Is that really what happened? Can I have proof of that? I need proof. I need a doctor's note. But yeah. Oh, I know something else to think about is like, I know it's not holiday season anymore, but just keep in mind as the holidays that we do have start approaching, like kind of the next big one being like Easter. Valentine's Day is kind of already gone. If you're selling something for Valentine's Day, it's a little late in the game. So keep that in mind. Like Easter's a big one coming up. It's a really big time of the year for buying too, because tax returns are starting to come back in and people are starting to get that warm weather and they're starting to get that spring fever and they're cleaning and they're making room for new things. So if you are a seller, just keep that in mind. It's that time of the year coming up here in the next couple of months where sales start picking up again. January, February are notoriously very slow. And, by the time like March, April, May starts coming around, it's going to be really, really nice. So keep in mind your like kind of seasonal stuff, spring stuff, summer stuff. I actually made an entire box of stuff next door that's all seasonal, and half of it's summer items like bubbles and sun hats and goggles and like random summer items. So very excited to have that kind of organized and start trickling that into my shows as those seasons are approaching us. It's also cruise season. So a lot of people are going on cruises right now and vacations into warmer weather, going down to Florida and experiencing weather that's not the snow and the rain. So yeah, just being prepared for that, reminding yourself to always stay, a month or so ahead of what's happening so that you're not last minute going, oh man, I had all of these, Easter items that would have sold so perfectly, especially if you sell knick-knack type items. I know that's a big thing. It's like little knick-knacky type Easter items, rabbits and salt and pepper shakers and decor and Easter basket items. Like get all that stuff out now so they can start buying it and it gets to them in plenty of time. So that's something else to keep in mind. But yeah, let's see. What else do we have to talk about? What else has been going on? Just massive organization on my end. It's been the theme of the year so far. I've just been trying to organize. I've also been getting a good bit of stuff listed into the Buy It Now, making sure my store does have a few items listed in it. I had a point where I was at like 30 or 40 items in the Buy It Now. It was really sad. So I have that up now. So that's exciting. So make sure you're listing and, getting at least those Buy It Now listings in. Those, you'd have to sit down and do those, but it's really easy to list on there for sure. And like I said, setting up those shipping profiles is going to have you guys set up on shipping. So those of you guys that are still like nervous about the shipping stuff, I promise you, it's not as complicated as it may seem. It's really not as daunting as it may seem. What else? I think that might be roughly it for me. It's been a pretty simple, straightforward last 2 months. I will probably have a little bit better of a topic for you guys next time. I just knew that there was random things I wanted to talk about today, and I honestly wasn't expecting to have as much time today, or else I would have thought of something. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else to talk about. I'm on my phone, so I can't pull up anything, but I was gonna say I could pull up some questions, but I think a lot of you guys have been asking a lot of the same questions. It's about the selling items live without having to make individual listings and shipping. Those are the 2 like number 1 questions. It's so interesting. Let me see if I can find a couple random ones and we'll rattle those off. We'll stay on for another 15 minutes and then we'll call it. Also, like, y'all are killing it on the subscriber front. I'm about to hit 2,000 subs. So exciting. I really appreciate you guys. It's been great. All right, let's see. What are some good questions I've had recently? Yeah, so funny how some of these are just the same. Very, very interesting. Someone pointed out my use of the word dilapidated. They're like, it's dilapidated, not dilapidated. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. I'll try to be better. Just a reminder, this was a good one. Do you have to be in the videos, or can you just feature the items with using your voice? And that's like, just like such a great question, because so many people are like, I don't want to be on camera. You don't have to be on camera. You can 1000% just show the items on with your hands. And I used to do this. I used to always be on camera in the beginning, and then I would flip around. I'm never on camera anymore. I actually only show my hands and talk. So you can 100% do it without showing your face. You do not need to show your face at all. What else am I missing? Sorry guys, I don't have anything super crazy to talk to you about today. Didn't really plan anything. I keep scrolling past these comments about listing items individually. It's so funny. Oh, someone had a really good comment. I'll bring it to the chat here. Somebody was talking about using their show clips. So when you're live, someone can like clip something. It's like, I think it takes a 60-second clip of what just happened, and they can clip it and save it to your profile. And if you go to your profile, if you go to anyone's profile, you'll see like it says like their shows, their store, their past shows, and it says clips. And if you click on clips, you can actually see these little clips from shows. And so she was saying she really wants to use it to like help highlight some of the things that she's selling in her show and share it to other social media. And I was like, for one, that's an amazing idea. I've never really thought of that. Like that's a really smart idea for sure. But what you can do is you can actually clip things, put them in your profile, and you can also edit them if you have an iPhone. So you can't do it on Android, but if you have an iPhone, you can actually edit your clips so that it maybe cuts certain parts out or whatever. So you can use that as like highlight reels. Like these are some big sales we had, or some types of items that I love to sell, and you'll see often if you come in. Mine are all friends of the show who have clipped me doing something silly or something like that. There's nothing like selling wise, but that was a great idea. So that's something you guys could think about, like utilizing things that I've never even thought about utilizing, like the show clips for sure. I've had a lot of comments about camera setup, like how I physically start the auction. I'm going to do a whole video on this. I don't know how, because it's so basic to me that I have to think like I've never used a camera before. I've never done this before. So I'm going to try to like dumb myself way down and like I don't mean to say it that way. Like, not that you're dumb if you don't know. I'm just saying, like, when you know something so second nature to you, it's just like, you just do it. I've never really thought about, there are people who are like, but how? Like, I did a coaching call and the woman was like, where do I put my phone? Like, how do I do it? And she was trying to show me her setup. And I was like, okay, you do that. I'm like trying to explain it to her. To me, seems so common sense. And she was like struggling for a little bit. And then once she got it, she's like, oh, that makes so much sense. And I'm just like, yeah, you see now how you can like have the light shining and you can have the item in front, but you can see the screen, because she couldn't understand how she was going to be able to see the screen and all these things. To me, seems so simple. To somebody else seems like, I don't know, I've never done this before. So I want to make a video about that for sure, because that's another thing I get a lot of questions about. Like, how are you setting your camera up? How exactly does it work? So I can definitely do that. What else? 2-day shipping time. Just a reminder, you get 2 days. 2 days. Oh, here's a good one. So I was just talking about cancellation requests. So someone said, regarding the cancellation request, I'd be so nervous about the denied person becoming PO'd at me and purposely giving me a bad review. I know I clearly have issues overthinking things, but people can be such jerks. And it's so true. People can be jerks, but there's a couple of perks to Whatnot. It is very seller centric. So although Whatnot wants buyers to have a great experience, they understand that this is a specific style of selling, not like a stagnant marketplace like eBay where everything's kind of laid out in front of you. And even then, actually, that makes it seem more like buyers should be more responsible because it's so laid out. But regardless, I digress. Because it's this live auction setting, just like if you were go to a live auction in person, there's not really cancellations. Like you can't bid on something at a live auction and then go be like, oh, I take that back. They'd be like, sorry, bids are final. That's how it works. So it's kind of the same thing. So it's very seller centric. It's not really about the buyer. It's about the experience overall and the sellers involved in that experience. So if you ever have somebody leave you a review that is not an accurate representation of their experience, but instead a frustration of something that is totally warranted. So for example, I put in a cancellation request, the buyer didn't accept it, I didn't have any need for this item, and now I have this item I don't need. Horrible experience, will never shop from again. Kind of a mean thing. Message Whatnot, say, hey, I'm messaging you in regards to this comment based from this seller. Their basis is that I didn't accept a cancellation request, which I'm fully in my right to do. Whatnot would immediately just remove the comment and it won't be there anymore. And then you can block the buyer and you can move on and you don't have to worry about them ever coming into your show again. So definitely something I understand to be like nervous about, but you don't need to be nervous about that at all. Oh, something else I want to play around with is flat rate shipping. I don't do flat rate shipping, but I think I'm going to try to do a show with flat rate shipping once. Not with books. It'll be something else. But I want to try it because I'm like, why not? I don't have any experience with it and I get a lot of questions about it. So I might try to do a flat rate show one day. I think it won't be books though. Oh, this was another good one, is about like how you clone items over. So like say you are done with your show and you have another show and you want to take all the items that you had in that show that didn't sell and move them over to the next show, or those listings that are multiple listings, right? Like 1 to 2 pound item that you have 200 of. You don't need to make that listing every time, you can clone it. They were like, well, how come I can't clone giveaways? And I was like, I've actually seen somebody who does it because I've seen their giveaways. It'll be the start of their show and it'll say like giveaway 11. And I'm like, how did they do that? Like, how do they have it cloned over? And the only thing I learned was that it has to be on iOS, I believe. It looks like you cannot clone giveaways on Android, but you can do it on iOS. So keep that in mind. I have to enter my giveaways every time. It's kind of annoying. Let's see, I'll find one more for you guys and then we will wrap it up. If you guys have any last minute questions, let me know. Sorry if that was loud. I did not mean to just whistle so loud. I don't know. I don't think I have any more for you guys. Oh, the 2 device question, which again, this would be something good to put in that video. It's just that reminder of you don't need 2 devices to stream. You just need a phone. Like if you have a phone, that's going to be your best bet for streaming. I use a computer only when I'm doing a plush and educational material toy show because of how far away I am from the camera. So I need to have the computer near me because I can't reach the camera anymore because it's going to be behind a table basically. So other than that though, you can read everything in your chat here on your phone. You can toggle and press all the buttons on your screen on your phone. So yeah, you only need one device. But yeah, all right. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and do a final call. Any last minute questions, drop them in the chat. If not, I'll see you guys next Thursday. I am going to start editing that video. Like I said, I still have a few more things to to film, because I am still working on that final back room. It's taken me about 3 weeks to do this whole project off and on. Obviously, I'm not doing it like every day. If I was focused on it, it would be done in like a day or two, but I have other stuff I have to do. But I've got a little bit left to do, and then I can't wait to share it with you guys. I'm so excited. Excuse me. I'm so excited with how it's turned out. And I'm going to be even more excited once I get it like final done. I need to figure out, one thing I need to source really large boxes. I have one. It's a huge box. I don't even know where I got it from, but it is massive. I need like 2 more of those. And I think that would be the best way to store my plush, because having it all into like little bins has been, I think, the hardest part. I just need to like figure out a better storage system. Like, I don't know if you've ever had this issue where you have like so many storage bins and containers, but none of them are really like what you exactly need. Like, they're good containers, but they're no longer what you actually need. And that's where I'm coming into trouble right now. So I think that's been part of the holdup for me, but yeah, so I'm just going to work on that, finish that, and I'll get that started editing, and I'll have that released for you guys on Thursday. Kind of just share the progress. My goal, it's like a lot of footage. Hours of footage. So much footage. I really want that video to only be like 30 minutes. I already know it's probably going to be like a 45-minute video, but I'm like going to try my hardest to make it like a 25 to 30-minute video. That's my goal. I don't know if you guys like longer videos, but they just naturally come to me. I don't know why. I'm just good at making longer videos. Oh, man. All right, guys. Well, I hope you all have a great rest of your day. If you're watching this on Thursday, have a great Thursday. If you are watching it on another day, thanks for tuning in. I will see you guys next week. Have a great week until then. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments of these videos. I will be more than happy to answer them. I always answer everyone's comments. So if you have any questions, just let me know. If you're just tuning in and you missed the whole show, it'll be live on my profile. It'll be under my live section. It won't be under my main profile videos. It'll be under live. So you do just need to toggle over to live if you're looking for this video, if you missed it and you just joined us. But all right, I will see you guys next week. Have a great week until then, and bye.